This Saturday, playoff edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now, using our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want across the whole store. They even have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Do the math. 20 becomes 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60. That's a lot. You can get it using our promo code Sports Addict on sale and regular priced items. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today and find your heroes. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins. Can't relax. Original. I am not the same as these cats.
And welcome to Pucks Across Borders on Sports Act Live and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by First Round Collectibles. I am Mark Sauter, and it is good to be here on a Saturday. Playoffs in full swing. It's been a whirlwind. We're here every single day, but we're loving it. Lots of drama. Actually, not so much drama in the Eastern Conference, but we'll talk all about it. But first, as always, I am Mark Sauter, and beside me, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. You read his gambling picks on Winners and Rhiners. You read his NHL analysis on TotalApexSports.com. You see him all over Total Apex Sports talking football, basketball, baseball. He talks about it all. Andre, how are we feeling on a Saturday, man? I hope you're not getting sick of me, dude. We're talking a lot these days.
Yeah, I'm not sick of you yet, but it's getting there. I'm doing pretty well, though. Can't complain. Glad to be talking about hockey on a Saturday.
100%. So let's just dive right into it, man. Last night, your boys in blue go up 3-0 in the series. Vancouver with a gutsy win, 12 shots on goal, and they still squeak out the win 2-1. The Kings dominate. The Avs dominate. There's lots that we could talk about this morning. What is your takeaway in the NHL from last night?
Igor Shesterkin is my takeaway. Best goalie in the world, in my humble opinion, completely unbiased. And, well, he let in a softy 5.5 minutes into yesterday's game. Might be the worst goal I've ever seen him let in. Not even sure if he knew the game had started yet. And he responded by absolutely standing on his head the next 55 minutes. He made some insane saves, like right on the doorstep. He was on top of every cross ice pass Washington tried. He turned probably the worst goal allowed of his career into one of the best starts of his career. The final 55 minutes of that game reminded me of Henrik Lundqvist. He was a huge reason why the Rangers killed all 6 Capitals power plays. He he was involved offensively, which is how you know he's sharp. And that includes a shot on the empty net at the end of the game. And if it weren't for Alex Ovechkin actually trying for once in the series, he would have finally had a goal. So it was a big win to go up 3-0. But we've seen in the past with Shesterkin, I love Iggy, but that Pittsburgh series, he was rattled. He was letting in softies, crowd got to him, whatever. In Washington, D.C., to their credit, the fans were showing up. They were booing when the Rangers had the puck, particularly Panarin. They were cheering when their guys had it. They were making noise. For a team that shouldn't be here, you would think, for a team that's now down 3-0, they had energy all night. Igor could have very easily gotten in his head again. Had a rough game, let Washington back into the series. Washington ended up with more shots on goal than the Rangers. I don't have the exact report in front of me, but I feel like they had more high danger chances too. But none of them got through because we had the brick wall back there. So good job by the team, the skaters, for responding 30 seconds later to tie it up, getting a shorty a few minutes later to take the lead. But Igor had one of his best games ever after allowing a goal that I don't think anyone would have ever expected him to give up.
Yeah, and I mean, so the final shot total was 29-22 in favor of the Capitals. Rangers putting up only 22 shots. I don't know this as a fact. That feels pretty low, though, coming from that Rangers team. And I mean, we were talking about this before the show, man. Like, I just feel like the Rangers are just better. Like, that's really all the analysis that you need. I don't feel like the Rangers have ever really dominated and like destroyed Washington. I just feel like they're just talented and they're going to win this series simply because they're better. There's other teams that you're going to play as the playoffs get deeper, where that's not going to be the case. But especially in the Met, when it comes to Carolina, when it comes to the Rangers, they're just simply better than the other team. And that's going to carry them to a win. And I predicted a sweep in this series, maybe 5 games, but I really thought that they were going to sweep. And it looks like that's going to happen. I guess before I go over my takeaway, a question for you, being the range guy on the show, that Matt Rempe hit. What did you think about it? Because there's lots of uproar of illegal, blah, 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 and I loved it. I think, like, anyway, I'll share my thoughts, but what were your thoughts about that hit? How did you see it?
Simultaneously, I feel like it was a clean hit, but I also feel like it should have been a penalty. Just for game management reasons more than anything. It was kind of violent, maybe like a charging, but
yeah.
He doesn't drive through the head. It was a clean hit. It was just really violent. He had a good run at him, and Van Riemsdyk didn't know he was coming and kind of turned into it, which made it worse. Obviously, I love the hit, but I understand. I understand the penalty. I'm not really going to beef with that. Just I don't like this trend of big hits being penalized, or big hits instantly meaning that someone from the other team is just going to wail away at your face and you have to take a fight.
Yeah.
That's a trend I've noticed the past few years in the NHL. Yesterday, obviously, that hit didn't lead to a fight, but it led to a penalty, probably for the better in that instance. But the big hit doesn't always equal a penalty. A big hit doesn't always equal dirty. Sometimes you just get your bell wrong because it wasn't on a swivel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was more of that instance, honestly.
Well, and I agree with a penalty being called. I thought it was way more charging than it was interference, because it ended up being called as interference. And to me, it didn't feel like interference. If anything, it was charging. I mean, listen, I'm not advocating for like headhunting, and that's not what Rempe was doing. Listen, Matt Rempe on skates is like 12 feet tall. Like, he's just bigger than everybody, dude. Like, anyone he hits, it's a headshot. Like, because he's just huge. Like, he's not trying to go for the head. He doesn't like elevate the shoulder. He doesn't jump off his skates. He just hits the guy, and he's like a foot and a half taller than him, so he's gonna hit him in the head. Like, it's just kind of how it goes. But listen, man, you know, we talk about Scott Stevens, right? What was the one thing that Scott Stevens made you do? And if you didn't do, he would crush you. It was keep your head up. Growing up playing hockey and getting into full contact hockey, that was always what was preached. Keep your head up. Because if you have your head down, you will get crushed. And that's not the same way anymore. It is still a very physical game, of course. But those Scott Stevens chicken wings aren't really coming at you like they were back in those days, right? But dude, he had his head down, man. He's playing the puck in the corner. He has his head down. He's gonna get crushed. Like that's just kind of the way it goes, man. So I'm right with you on that one. All right, moving on. I had a hard time kind of landing on a takeaway because I do think there's something that you can take away from every game last night. I thought the Canucks and the Predators, dude, I thought the Predators really deserved to win that game. They allowed 2 quick goals at the beginning. The Predators outshot the Canucks 30-12. And Casey DeSmith, man, I watched the majority of that game. He had a phenomenal game. And here we are talking about, they don't have Demko. Well, Casey DeSmith, man, is he going to give you that game every single time? I doubt it. But he had himself a night. And 30-12 in Nashville, or Smashville, which is a nickname that makes me uncomfortable, but hey, it is what it is. I can't. I don't come up with these things. We got to roll with it. But that's just unbelievable. Then you have the Edmonton Oilers, who, if the Kings don't stay out of the penalty box, like this is done. Like they cannot be taking penalties ever. Oilers just absolutely destroy the Kings. I think we all figured that the Oilers were going to win this series. I did expect more. I think you and I both actually picked the Kings to win that game. And Oilers just destroyed them. But I'm going to land in Denver, man. And that game last night, we've talked about this throughout the season. We've talked about this even in the playoffs so far. Colorado has this innate ability to just flip a switch and take over a hockey game. And if the Jets don't find a way to slow down the game and make the Avs play Jets hockey, the Jets might not win another game. Like Georgiev, for all of the talk that we had after game 1, even going into this series before the season even started, Jets only got 24 shots last night, and I believe they only got 24 shots the game before. I'm pretty sure. But Jets are up 2-1, second period. The beginning of the second period, the Jets get the game tying goal. Then 5 minutes later, they get the 2-1 goal. And 8 minutes later, so it's going into the third period. The Jets are up 2-1 going into the third period. 2 minutes in, McKinnon scores. 2 minutes later, Nichushkin scores. Both power play goals. Then 3 minutes later, Lehkonen scores. 4 minutes later, Colton scores. 4 minutes later, Taves scores. Empty net goal, but Taves scores. Like, one of those was an empty net. So Hellebuck allowed 5 goals, not 6. But for all this talk about Georgiev, man, Connor Hellebuck, I know you said Shesterkin. I know you said Shesterkin. I know you said Shesterkin. I think Hellebuck's the best goaltender in the world. That's my opinion. And he's getting crushed in this series. And that fast pace where the Jets ended up winning 7-6. But games like that are not going to go in the Jets' favor. So I know the series is only 2-1. I know there's lots of hockey left to be played. But the Jets have to find a way to play their game for 60 minutes. Because you go into the third period up 2-1 and you leave the ice with a 6-2 loss. That switch flipping of of Colorado, the Jets got to find a way because it's scary. Like it is. I've never seen a team flip a switch like that. It's unbelievable.
That's the thing though with this Avs team, and I had that game on. I was watching, and it just every few minutes, Colorado scores again, and it just kept happening over and over and over. And that's the thing when you play this Avalanche, fittingly enough for their name, what happens, and it just snowballs. If you're not prepared for it, it just snowballs, and a 2-1 becomes 5-2 very quickly, and a sure win becomes how are we gonna get this game to overtime very quickly. That offense, when it's motivated, does not play. And the thing about it was in Denver. They were talking about on the broadcast, you feel the altitude difference as soon as you step off the plane, right? That was the third period of that game.
Yeah.
Winnipeg was gassed. And that's the difficulty of going to Ball Arena and winning a game. And that's why Winnipeg losing game 2 was such a big deal, because game 4, maybe they'll be adjusted by then. They'll steal that one. But then they go home. And game 6, if they make it that far, you're adjusting to the altitude again. And you're on the road against an insane offense again. They've broken down your defense completely. They have guys who can literally just skate through and around you at will. It's scary. I just don't know if they have the foot speed to keep up with this team for 60 minutes in a series where 3 of the games are going to be in Denver. Winnipeg's a great team. Honestly, any other matchup in this Western Conference, you feel good about them. But Colorado is just such a different beast, especially when they have a reason to bring it and flip that switch, as you said. So,
well, and like my concerns for Colorado in this series were they're extremely top heavy. We know this. Like they are very, very top heavy, and that's a concern that we've had all year long. And Winnipeg has one of the best shutdown defenses in the league, and one of the best goaltending tandems in the league. Now, I say tandem. We're not going to see Brossoit in this series at all. They're going to give Hellebuck's the net. This is one of those things, right, where it's like in Leafland, if Samsonov has a bad night, we might see Wool. That's not going to happen in Winnipeg, right? But listen, man, Zach Parise, 16 minutes on ice. He gets a goal. You have Colton, 13 minutes. Middlestat, 15 minutes. Other than that, almost everybody played 11 minutes or less. And you have Nichushkin, 22 and a half minutes. McKinnon, 22 and a half minutes. Rantanen, 24 and a half minutes. Makar, 27 minutes. Gerard, who's back last night, 21 minutes. Taves, 22 minutes. They're just riding their big boys, like just going like to the ground, man. Like it's unbelievable when you got 23 minutes of just McKinnon just killing you. It's a tough thing to overcome, man. And so they are still top heavy, but their big boys are just taking over, and it's going to be. And I mean, I think you made a good point, dude, talking about going back to Colorado for game 6. If it gets that far, you got to think you kind of have to win the next 2 games. Like you have to kind of, and I don't think the team would necessarily think like this, but as an observer of the sport, I feel like you have to assume that if Winnipeg wins this series, it's going to go 7 games. And you have to win the next 3, or next 2, and then hope. And then if you can't, win in game 6, you got to come through with the game 7 win, right? So that's going to be really interesting to watch. And I was really impressed. That's the thing, dude. Like, I was really impressed with Winnipeg's game. Like, I was really impressed. Like, we see 6-2. Dude, for 2 periods, Winnipeg was playing a phenomenal game, and penalty trouble sewered them. And Colorado just took it over. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing, too. They gave up, 5 power plays the Avs had in the third period or something like that. You can't be on the PK 6 times against Colorado.
Double minor for one of them, too, right? Double minor for one of them.
Yeah. There should have been, it was a double minor, and that was like a minute after a tripping call.
Yep.
You can't do that against Avs. That's just asking. That's asking for them to beat you 7-2.
Oh yeah. No, 100%. And that's the weird thing, right? Is like 6-2. You just look at it. Like, it's funny because I watched that whole game. I couldn't wait for that hockey game last night. It was terrific. And going into the third period, like, I actually forgot that Winnipeg played a very good hockey game just because the final score was 6-2. And then, like, this morning I'm doing my prep and I'm looking at the box score and I'm like, oh yeah, like, Winnipeg controlled the majority of that hockey game. And it's just incredible to see what Colorado can do, man. It's dangerous. And I think if it was anybody else, I would call it playing with fire. I would say that Colorado plays with fire. But no, this is just how the team is structured. And it's really, really fascinating to watch. All right, moving on. We got 4 games on the ice tonight. The first game starts in just under 3 hours from now. Are we going to see our first series finished in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs? We will find out. The Carolina Hurricanes, -192 favorites on the road. That tells you all you need to know about how this series has gone. The New York Islanders +160 at home. The over is 5.5 at -102, and the under is -118. -1.5 for Carolina is +142. +1.5 for the Islanders is -170. What do you see in this series tonight?
I think I'm gonna take the Islanders to get their pity win. Honestly,
Really? Okay.
I mean, they've been there. I think Coach Waugh has instilled, at the very least, pride in this team. You saw it at the end of the regular season, and they're not playing terribly. Like, they've been in these games. They've had chances to tie it up, force OT, take the lead, hold on to a 3-0 lead. They've lost in every way this series. I think that they finally secure one. I'm pretty sure Varlamov is back in net, right? The Sorokin experiment's done with at this point.
I think so. Yeah, I think
that's
so.
for the best. He's played pretty well in this series. So look for the Canes. Offense maybe tops out at 2 goals. The Islanders squeak in a third or a fourth, whatever. They take this one home. I'm going to take... See, I'm conflicted on that total now. I'm going to take the Islanders, not just to win. I think I'm going to take the 60-minute line. I think they send this one back to Carolina. And the series is obviously over at this point. They're going to go to Carolina and get smacked, but they've got to lock down one of these games eventually. And if they were getting like absolutely destroyed, I'd just call the clean sweep, but they haven't been, and I don't think they want to go out sad. So put on a show for the home fans. Why don't you?
Yeah, that's really interesting. First of all, before I speak on a couple comments you just made and then give my take on the game, I just want to throw this out there. Sorokin is making 4.5, 4.2, 4.5, something like that this year. His 8-year extension kicks in next year, and he is making around $8 million per year starting next year. So him and Patrick Waugh, they're going to have to find a way to coexist, man, because that guy is not going anywhere with that contract. So that's going to be interesting to watch in the years to come. But it's really interesting that you kind of look at it that way, because to me, I think you're absolutely right. I think that the Islanders have probably percentage-wise, they might have controlled more of this series than the Canes have. I feel like there's large stretches in every game where the Hurricanes or the Islanders rather are just dominating. And Freddie Anderson's coming up with some big saves. He's been playing out of his mind at times. I feel the same way about this Carolina team as I do about the Rangers. They're just better. They're just better. They're just more talented. Doesn't matter what the Islanders throw at them. Carolina is going to find a way to grind out a win. I thought that the Islanders deserved to win game 1. I thought the Islanders, for the most part, deserved to win game 2, except they locked it down way too early, and Carolina came back and got the win. And then in game 3, I thought that whole third period, the Islanders had terrific pushback, but they just couldn't find a way to get the big goal, and Carolina goes up 3-0. So where you say that because of that, you think that the Islanders will get a win, and that's logical, and I see where you're coming from. To me, I feel like their soul is crushed. I feel like they have done everything that they feel like they can do. They're not getting the big save at the right time, and I feel like because of that, I feel like they're crushed, and I think they're going home, and I think Carolina wins by 2. I think Carolina wins big tonight. I just have, or this afternoon, I just have that feeling. Now I'll just pull up what value are we getting on a Carolina 60-minute line. Yeah, I would go with the Carolina 60-minute line at -110. I also would contemplate the puck line here at +142. I feel like Carolina wins, and I think they win convincingly, and I think the Islanders go home. I think they needed that. Obviously, they needed that win the other night. But don't get me wrong. I would love to see more playoff hockey from the Islanders. Or would I? Maybe I don't. Maybe I want this series to be over. Yeah, maybe I just want it to be done with. And I'll say this. I said this on the show last time we talked about these two teams. I got lots of Islanders fans in my life, and I want nothing but the best for that team. If my friends are happy, I'm happy, but I don't think they will be after today. I think by 5:30 p.m., the Islanders are going to be done, and Carolina moves on. So give me the Carolina 60-minute line, and I wouldn't be scared of flirting with that puck line either. All right, moving on to 5:10 puck drop. Florida Panthers up 3-0, another 3-0 series up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay +105. Sorry, computer being a little bit slow here. All right. Tampa Bay +105. Florida Panthers are -125. The over is 6 at -122. The under is +102. -1.5 for the Florida Panthers is +190. +1.5 for the Lightning is -230. I'm struggling with this one. I think that for Florida to win, I think that's pretty good odds. -125. It's a little bit juicy, but I don't mind those odds. I don't know. Like, from what I've been watching in this series, I feel like again, I think Florida's just better. I think they're built for the playoffs. They've been really, when Florida's playing great, they're always playing playoff hockey, even in the regular season. They're big, they're fast, they're strong, so they're not afraid to get dirty. They're not afraid to take the bad penalty just to let you know, like, hey, we're here and we're coming for you. I just have a hard time seeing Tampa Bay not. It isn't even about Tampa Bay getting swept. It's more about getting swept at home. I just don't see Tampa Bay losing both games at home. I feel like they get at least one win. I do think this series, I just think Tampa Bay, they're tired, man. That defense is thin. Like, they're really missing Sergachev. Kucherov has been almost a non-factor this series. Stamkos has done what he can to get this team in a position to win. I don't think Vasilevsky has been horrible. I think both goalies have actually been quite good in this series, especially Bob, but even Vasilevsky, man, he's made some terrific saves to keep his team in the game. I just don't, and this is not the most analytical, stat-heavy opinion. I just don't think Tampa will lose 2 at home. Like they love that building, and they win in that building, and I just don't see them going out at home. I don't. Now, if they end up getting a win, depending how that game goes, I feel like Florida is going to win this thing in 5. I don't think Tampa can get more than one win, but I don't see them losing both games at home, man. Do you?
No. And you think they're going to go to 5. I still think this series is going to go to 6. I think they're going to still win in Sunrise and come back to Amalie.
Okay.
I genuinely do. Obviously, that starts with this game. So, I'm taking that plus 105. Again, this is more so than the Islanders. This is a series where I feel like the Lightning are closer than the 3-0 indicates. And you said it just now. Amalie is a building where they tend to dominate, and I don't see them losing 2 in a row at home, especially not come playoff time, especially not with the season on the line, especially not when John Cooper basically challenged them and asked them all if they even believe. So,
yeah, good point.
For sure, taking the Lightning in this one. I'm going to take the over as well. And I expect the series to come back to Amalie. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I will say, this has nothing to do with the game, really. 5 o'clock start. So weird. It's such a time zone type thing. I hate like 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Those are just not, and 11 o'clock too, but that's rare. Those are just not start times. Get it together. But I think the Lightning are going to win.
So what's funny is, like, I complain about the schedule a lot in the regular season. And last Sunday, I loved that stagger. I thought that was awesome. And they're doing the same thing today, except they're pushing the start time to 2, 5, 8, and 10 or 10:30. The only difference between last Sunday and today is purely because the universe revolves around me. Everybody knows that. And I'm busy today. So I don't like a 5 o'clock start because I'm busy. So that's, that's just why I don't like it. I think I can catch the 2 o'clock game, but the 5 o'clock game, I got plans, NHL. Like, what are you doing? Push it to 7. Come on, help me out. Yeah, I'm right there with you. 5 is a really weird start time. But moving on. And what did I tell you? I've told you guys all year long. The Maple Leafs run the NHL. And if you don't believe me, you got Florida and you got Tampa. It's an incredible rivalry. Florida is potentially the best team in the NHL. Some people think. Is that game starting at prime time? No. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins are playing on Saturday night. Why? Because it's hockey night in Canada, because it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they play every Saturday night, whether the rest of the league likes it or not. That's just the way it goes. The self-proclaimed mecca of hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs, hosting the Boston Bruins Saturday night, 8:10 puck drop. Plus, wow, I'm all over the place. I got so caught up in my self-centeredness that I'm making mistakes. All right. The Toronto Maple Leafs are minus 118 at home. Boston Bruins, minus money. Not favored, but minus money, minus 102 on the road. The over is 6 now at minus 102, and the under is minus 118. Plus 1.5 is minus 265. Minus 1.5 is plus 215 for Toronto. Now, throughout this series, I've been letting you go first because I tend to talk a lot when it comes, well, always, but especially when it comes to my team. But I'm going to let you go first this time as well because I'm in my feelings, bro. I got a bunch of Maple Leaf PTSD going on, and I need some clarity. I need someone to center me, and I want to hear your thoughts on this game so I can come back down to earth, breathe, relax, and try to analyze this game with some rationality other than my fandom. See? Did you just hear him? That's exactly how we feel right now here in Toronto. That's a perfect explanation of how we feel. Andre, how do you see this game?
Well, as the only competitive series in the Eastern Conference so far,
Seriously,
I think that's an encouraging sign for your Leafs. They're fine. I know you're worried about them, but they're fine. God, I almost said Bertuzzi. Nylander should be back. Matthews is playing even though he's been under the weather. They've been in these games. You can't imagine they're going to lose both at home. So that's in their favor already. This is probably going to 7, man. And you're just going to have to enjoy the roller coaster, the ups and downs until TD Garden next week. I guess next Saturday is what they scheduled it for. I don't see the Bruins taking this one. They played well in game 3. I honestly think that was one of their better games of the series. A little bit of shenanigans helped them along the way. But it was a tie game with less than 10 minutes left. It's not like, the Maple Leafs were it was a 4-2 final. It's not like the Maple Leafs were down multiple goals the whole time. They scored first, and they let Boston tie it. They let Boston take the lead. They tied it back up. And then Marchand just, he led the team to victory. This will leader still.
He took over the game.
Yeah,
you're right.
Basically. Even before then, the 1-1 goal by Frederick was his little, I forgot what you called it earlier, but when he got tangled
can opener.
Yeah, the can opener. So
yeah.
I mean, he made his mark. He had his game. That's fine. Nylanders should be back. The Maple Leafs have a response in them like they did in game 2. The scoring hasn't been there yet, and they're not down 3-0. I think that's the most encouraging sign. The offense is going to come at some point with those guys there. I think tonight's that night. 4 goals from Toronto and a win. So give me the over. Give me the Maple Leafs minus 118.
I am just begging for a 5-0. Just give me the night off, man. Just give me the night off. Just score 3 goals in the first period and let's just win a big game here. So listen, this is my thoughts on the series, and I do believe that I'm being objective when I throw this analysis out there. I think by and large, overall, the Leafs have been the better team in this series. Even the first game when they lost 5-1, I talked about this on the show. I talked about it in my column on TotalApexSports.com. I really do feel that the Boston Bruins have been opportunistic, and that is why they're leading the series. I don't feel like Boston has overly outperformed Toronto. I think that Toronto has, for the most part, been the better team. The problem is Boston takes advantage when Toronto does stupid, boneheaded things. And Toronto does stupid, boneheaded things. As a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, I'm telling you, like, watch the New York Rangers, watch the Carolina Hurricanes, watch the Florida Panthers, watch the Colorado Avalanche, watch these high caliber Stanley Cup potential winning teams, and they just don't do the boneheaded plays that Toronto does. 5 times trying to get it out of the defensive zone, backhanding a puck up the middle of the ice rather than just shooting it off the boards and getting it down. Like on the power play, just always constantly trying to feed the middle of the ice rather than taking advantage of the space. Like, if the Leafs don't clean up their game, Boston's going to take advantage of those opportunities, and this series is going to be over rather quickly. Toronto has out-hit Boston 171 to 155. There have been 326 hits in the first 3 games of this series, and Toronto's been the more physical team. Toronto has outshot Boston 100 to 88. And they have only scored more than 3 goals once in a game. They have scored 6 goals all series. I know Swayman is good. I know that Allmark is good. But you have to score goals. You have to. There's one game in the last 10 Toronto Maple Leaf playoff games where they have scored more than 2 goals, and that was game 2 the other night. The Leafs just they have to score goals, man. Like, I don't think Boston is blowing them out of the water here. Toronto's played a very, very good series for the most part, but they're not taking advantage of their opportunities. Say what you want about the refs. I know before that Frederick goal, there were 2 opportunities where the play should have been blown dead. I get it. But guess what? Toronto is 1 for 11 on the power play. 1 for 11. Boston is 5 for 10. Boston 5 for 10. They've had 1 less power play opportunity and they have 4 more goals. So say what you want about the refs, man. Boston was 2 for 3 on the power play the other night and Toronto was 0 for 5. So even if Toronto got those penalties called in their favor, would they have even done anything with it? Or would they have just ended up being 0 for 6, 0 for 7? So to me, this is just all about Toronto just needs to execute and take advantage of their opportunities. And I know that sounds simplistic. And I know Jeremy Swayman's played terrific. We still don't know who's going to be in net. Are they going to continue this like flip-flop, like Allmark Swayman? When Jim Montgomery, Coach Montgomery was asked about it yesterday, he said, and I quote, "We are going to stick to the game plan." Okay, great. Thank you. What does that mean? Does that mean Swayman's in net or does that mean Allmark's in net? I don't know what you're talking about. But I do feel like Allmark, they'll probably go back and forth. And you'll probably have Allmark playing net tonight. So that's kind of my analysis on this, is that Boston's just taking advantage of their opportunities. It's that simple. They haven't necessarily been the better team. They're just taking advantage of the opportunities. The last thing that I will say, if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, and listen, I love this guy. I hate him because he's a Boston Bruin, but if he was on the Maple Leafs, he'd be my favorite player. Leave Brad Marchand alone. Leave him alone. This guy has been an antagonist. Is that the right word? Yeah. His whole career. Going from licking people and can openers and cross checks and headshots. Like, he is going to do whatever he can do to throw you off his game. And you're engaging him way too much. Stop engaging him. Stop giving him the time of day. Leave him alone. Because he will take over a game if you give him the opportunity. So leave him alone. With all of that being said, I don't feel great about it, to be quite honest with you. But I think we all saw this game going 7 games. or saw this series going 7 games. And for that to happen, Toronto has to win tonight. And so, like you said, Nylander is most likely back. We still don't know for sure. Austin Matthews, like 99%, he'll be playing tonight. It does look like TJ Brody is going to be coming in on the back end, and Liljegren will be the one removed. That's some deep Toronto Maple Leaf talk, but we'll see what happens with that. So I'm going to pick Toronto to win tonight, man. Minus 118. I'll give Toronto the win. The total I'm going to stay away from. I'd probably lean over as well. But I'm going to give Toronto the win at minus 118. They got to get it done tonight, man. Because if not, oh boy, I don't know. I know Florida came back down 3-1, but I don't like our chances up in Maple Leaf land. So give me Maple Leafs minus 118. And as always, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for speaking. It's a deep dive.
Thanks for sharing. All right, last game of the night, the nightcap, 10:40 puck drop. Dallas Stars in Vegas. Another team. Dallas is down 0-2 in this series. Vegas minus 110 now. Was minus 112. It is now minus 110. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Stars are the same. It's a pick 'em, even money across the board. The over is 5.5 at minus 112. The under is plus 102. Plus 1.5 for Dallas is minus 270. Minus 1.5 for Vegas is plus 220. Andre, what do you got in this one, bro?
I'm not giving up on the Stars. They lost both games at home. The offense, in particular for game 2, did not muster anything, just 21 shots, 1 goal. And that lone goal came on the power play. Their only power play of the night. But I'm not giving up on them. Dude, they're the top seed in the West for a reason. They made it this far for a reason. And it's because not their goaltending and defense. I know Andrew's, again, having some issues with this Golden Knights team. It's because they were third in scoring. It's because their special teams was top 10 on both sides, talking about the PP and the PK. And for what it's worth, they had a better points percentage on the road. I know that boils down to literally 1 overtime loss, but traveling didn't affect them like it affects other teams. They're not going to go down 3-0. It's a must win for all intents and purposes, and they did earn the top spot in the Western Conference. Don't let games 1 and 2 fool you. That's how I feel about it. I'm taking the Stars to win.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I think the Stars will win this game tonight. There's a part of me that wants to look up the alternate spread, but I feel like that's getting a little bit greedy. I'm going to take the Stars to win tonight too, and I think it's just that plain and simple, man. The Stars, and I mean, listen, let's just be real about it. I picked Winnipeg to win the Stanley Cup. They're playing a Stanley Cup contender in the Colorado Avalanche. One of them is going to lose. You have the Leafs and the Bruins. Both, I don't know how many people would call them both Cup contenders, but they're both very good teams. One of them is going to lose. I've been on record to say that the Nashville Predators are a very sneaky Cup contender. I thought that they could give teams a lot of trouble in the playoffs. They're playing Vancouver. One of them is going to lose. And here we have Dallas and Vegas, both Cup contenders, and someone's going to lose. And it's just the way it goes. I just don't see Dallas going out 4-1, 4-0, 4-1. The truth of the matter is, the way that this Vegas team is built, and I picked Dallas to win game 1 because I wasn't comfortable with how much or how little the full Vegas roster had actually played together. Pietrangelo was out for a long time. Thomas Hertl was a deadline acquisition, and didn't play for the first few weeks he was on the team. Mark Stone has been out for a long time. The best spleen in the NHL. He's back and scored right away. This Vegas team, they did it again, bro. Like, they're so good. And like Noah Hannafin, he scored a goal the other night. I think he has a couple in the series. He's playing terrific. Like, this Vegas team, they're a truck, bro. They're really good. And if you go down 3-0, I don't care who you are. You're not winning this series. Like, this is the ultimate, even more so than Toronto, Boston. Like, this is an ultimate must-win game for Dallas. They're not beating Vegas 4 times in a row. They're just not. So I'm picking Dallas to come out to win this game. It's been a weird series where the home team, Dallas, lost both their games at home. And I think the Road Warrior trend continues in this series. And I'm picking Boston. Oh, they're in my head, bro. They're in my head. I'm picking Dallas to win this game. At minus 110. A little prop for you. Wyatt Johnston. Really eye-opening season from him. Not a lot of noise from him so far in the playoffs. I'm picking him. I just want to double check here what his stats have been. Yeah, 1 assist, -1, only 4 shots on goal in the series. I'm looking at him to step up, man, because this guy can be a game breaker. And he has not delivered so far in this postseason. So Wyatt Johnston plus 195 for him to get a goal tonight. I'm looking at him to really step up and get the job done. So give me Dallas minus 110, and I'm looking at Wyatt Johnston, Ontario boy, plus 195 to score a goal. All right, moving on to our best bets. 4 games on the ice tonight. We just covered them all. Moving on to our best bets to wrap up the show. Brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code SportsAddict, get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens of cards on or in the store. And with our promo code, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. That's the number one, STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. Andre, what do you got as your best bet tonight? And there's only 2 of us, bro. It's a 2-leg parlay. We got to nail it, bro. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm disappointed I can't just keep spamming the over and Avalanche for Jets because that's been perfect for me so far.
Killing it. Yeah.
Shout out to Colorado, but there's no way. I just don't see a reality where the Lightning gets swept out of this series by the Panthers. I don't. And I understand how good the Panthers are, but it's in Amali, and that is still a championship core. That's still a really good goalie. That's still this year's top scorer and should be MVP in my opinion. Talking about Kucherov, Stamkos is playing well. They got to take at least one. Give me Tampa plus 105.
Love it. I'm so I don't really like doing this because it's kind of ending the day early. But I'm going to go to that 2:10 game, Carolina and the Islanders. And I know, Andre, that you and I disagree on this. It doesn't happen very often, but once in a while we do disagree. John is usually the guy that is always wrong and disagrees with me. But I really do think Carolina takes it home today, man. I really do. I think the series is done. I think the Islanders, their hopes have been crushed, and I think that Carolina goes home with a win. Clearly, the minus 192 is really expensive. The 60-minute line makes me a little bit nervous just because these games have been relatively close score-wise, and overtime is not out of the question, but I'm going to take it anyway. I think the Carolina Hurricanes win in regulation, -110, and I think they get the job done, bro. I really do.
Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up nice and quick today, apparently. 2:00, Islanders hosting the Hurricanes, and Mark has the Hurricanes wrapping up the series. 60-minute line, -110. Follow that up with a little Sunshine State action. Panthers in Tampa for the second time. +105 for the Lightning to keep the series alive. Parlay together, +291.
So let's do something a little different. I didn't give you a heads up about this. It literally just came to my mind, but let's do something a little different here. So we got the early slate, both of our best bets. My best bet is starting at 210. Your best bet's happening at 510. Let's go. Let's just do something different. What's your late night pick? Maple Leafs Toronto on at 810, Dallas Vegas on at 1040. So we nail the parlay before the Boston Toronto series starts. And what are we putting that money on for the evening?
There's no way the Stars go down 3-0. So I'm taking that line at -110.
Oh, I hate you. I hate you so much. I don't know. Am I really going to pick the Maple Leafs to win? Am I really going to do this? Do you know what I am going to do, though? Let me see something here. We're just going off the cuff. We're live, winging it as we go here. Dude, this is so funny. This is my first time really doing a deep dive here. William, so for anytime goal scorers tonight, Austin Matthews is -145. David Pastrnak is +115. William Nylander is +155. Hasn't played a minute in this playoffs, and they're like, "Yep, third best odds, or third, third on the list at +155." Yeah, you know what, man? I'm picking the Maple Leafs to win. Screw it. We're going all in. -118. Give me the boys in blue, dude. They got to take advantage of their opportunities, and I'm picking them to win. I don't feel comfortable about it. I'm resentful towards you for putting me in this position, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take it. I will say this, man. William Nylander, one thing this kid loves to do, and that's shoot the puck. Over 3.5 shots is +114 for him tonight. And I feel like if he's back on the ice, he's going to be buzzing. He's ready to go. So over 3.5 shots for Willie at +114. I like that too. I do. I like that one as well. So I'll take the Maple Leafs -118, but that William Nylander prop, I really like that over 3.5 at +114. I think he's going to make himself and like make no mistake about it. He's so important for this team. Like the guy scored 98 points this year. You know what I mean? Like that's a big piece missing from your power play, from your 5-on-5. So I like that prop too. Over 3.5 shots for Nylander at +114, but I'll take Toronto to win. Why not? Let's go 4 for 4 on our games tonight. Why not?
I love it. This would have taken, but I just felt better about the Stars just because they're doing so well. I will say, and I'm just gonna completely ignore the brand new rules you just made. I made a 3-pick parlay out of that for the nightcap. So Stars money line is second. I don't know why I said it first. First up, we have the Maple Leafs money line parlayed with William Nylander over 3.5 shots. That's +258 together. After that hits, you get the Stars money line at -110. 3-pick parlay +583.
Absolutely love it. Let's make some money tonight. All right, before we wrap the show up, something just happened to me, and it's a real fanboy moment, and I gotta share it. So in Toronto land, and this is a little sneak peek into Toronto land. So Joe Bowen is the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs on the radio. He did some TV work in the 90s, early 2000s, but he's been the voice of the Maple Leafs on the radio for years and years and years, 30 years plus. Joe Bowen is a legend in this city. And on Wednesday night on the radio, he called out Toronto Maple Leaf fans for being quiet in the building and for not like cheering the team on when they're down. And he gave the Maple Leaf fans in the building a hard time. Now, I don't necessarily like agree with that. I think there's other factors to it. And we can talk about that like another day. I won't get into it. But there's people on Twitter who are coming at this guy like, oh, you've watched the Leaf games, for free. When was the last time you bought a ticket? Like, when was the last time you sat in those seats? Like, who are you? Blah, blah, blah. The guy is an absolute Toronto legend, and people have the stones to go after him on social media. It drives me crazy. Now, I will also say, and this is a purely Toronto thing, maybe people don't care about this, but I do. He made the point on social media to say, hey, by the way, everybody, I pay for 2 season tickets every year, and my family goes in my seats. So yes, I'm calling the games for free, but I'm a season ticket holder. I own 2 seats, kind of defending himself. So I tweeted out, agree or disagree with Joe Bowen. You can have your opinion, but anyone who's coming after this legend is an idiot. Like, you're all stupid. Like, you can't come after this guy. He's Toronto royalty. He just liked my tweet, and I feel like you know what? I love Toronto Maple Leafs -118 now. I got the good vibes back. Joe Bowen liked my tweet, and I feel like the Leafs are going to never. In fact, the Leafs are going to win the Stanley Cup, and they're not going to lose one more game. That's how I feel now. That's what that Joe Bowen liking my tweet did to me. Give me Maple Leafs -3.5 tonight. That's what's going to happen. I'm back on board. I'm back, baby. I absolutely love it. All right, that's my cue. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. As always, whether you're watching live today or throughout the day, we appreciate you. Shout out to Total Apex Sports for having us on board. We appreciate you guys. Head over to totalapexsports.com and check out all the great sports writing that goes on over there. First round collectibles, promo code SportsAddict for 10% off every card in the store. We appreciate you all. We'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Adios.
Go.